Ladies and gentlemen, this is Align Mask.
And the cat.
And in today's episode, we are going to talk about I was being discriminated when driving to Oklahoma. But first, before we get into that, we, for the first time ever, are being sponsored.
Yay.
We are being sponsored by the energy drink called Dubby. Dubby is an energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics. They formulated Dubby for anyone who wants to focus without jitters or a crash. Just mix 1 round scoop with a 6 to 8 ounces of cold water and shake. Unlike other energy drinks in their category, they pride themselves on actually developing a clean energy formula that is free from fillers, maltodextrin, I probably butcher that, I don't know how you can say that, and artificial coloring. Now, myself, I have tried this. I have tried the Dragonade and what is that one called again?
Galaxy Grenade.
Galaxy Grenade. So, me personally, I like the Dragonade. I have tried
this
it out.
Galaxy one because that grenade is like grenade, boosh.
That one actually has a really good flavor. It's a little fruity, so is this one, but it has a little more dragon fruit flavor into it. I think that's why it's called Dragonade.
Yeah, I like the grenade. I just like the sound of it.
So, it doesn't have jitters. You will not feel any crashes. I tried them. They taste really good. And it gives me really focus when it comes to making content or doing videos. So, use code MASK526 on your order and you will get 10% off.
Go order now.
So without further ado, let's get into the story. So yes, a couple weeks ago, I was actually driving to Oklahoma.
Ain't that like corn land? Where they grow all the corn? What are you doing there? Driving in corn land.
Well, unfortunately, I actually didn't see any corn. It was just like in any other city. I was like, oh, this is a little disappointing.
I thought that shit was like Corn Central.
But here's the kicker. I didn't really start driving until like around 8 at night. And I forgot what the little town is called. It was also me and my cousin, keep in mind. So it was me and my cousin. We were both driving out there to drop off a car for his brother. So we reached to a little town. We haven't even left Arizona yet. We're still in Arizona at this point.
Okay.
And I was the one who was driving. I will admit, I was speeding. I was getting into town kind of fast because I was barely getting off the highway.
How fast were you going?
The speed limit was like 45. I was going at least 65.
No, not too bad. I thought you were going to say you were driving like at 90 miles down the road or some shit.
Oh, shit. No, that's fucking Need for Speed right there. So, as I was rolling in, out of nowhere, there was one of those cop cars hiding behind the sign.
Oh, man, that's just the worst where they got like the little radar guns and shit.
Yep. So, luckily, we're actually pulling over to a gas station, but he pulled over not next to us, but he basically parked on the other side of the gas station. And my cousin was telling me, like, hey, don't look, but as soon as we leave, I bet you that fucking cop car is going to pull us over.
Right.
So we got our gas, we start pulling out, and sure enough, yeah, he did pull me over. And I was thinking, you know what, he probably pulled me over because I was speeding. But here's the kicker. He did not pull me over because I was speeding.
Oh, why'd he pull you over then?
He pulled me over because as we were leaving the gas station, I guess before you drive off, this is what he said too. Even though there isn't a stop sign, you're supposed to stop before you reach the sidewalk and then you can go. That was the reason why he pulled me over.
Wait, I'm pretty sure like there needs to be a stop sign or at least a yield sign. Sounds like he's making shit up, but
that's what I was thinking too. I was just thinking like that doesn't really make sense to me because if I was supposed to stop,
wouldn't there be a stop sign? Yeah, or at least a yield sign.
Exactly.
Like yield to traffic or some shit.
But there was no sign at all. So, and there was no cars because again, this was basically, well, when we got into the city, I think it was already like 11 at night, 11 p.m.
Okay.
So it was like, there was no cars around at all. So, as he was explaining this, Me and my cousin, we were being respectful. We were like, "Yes, officer. Of course, officer. Thank you, officer."
You weren't doing the ossifer part? Yes, ossifer.
Because I didn't want to get into trouble. Cause,
You don't want to get a beat down? Right.
These cops don't fucking take jokes. So, again, I was the one driving. He asked me to step out of the car. So, as I step out of the car, he was asking me, the basics. Like, do you guys have any drugs, weapons, anything illegal? I told him, no, we don't have anything illegal. He's like, you sure you don't have anything illegal? Like, yes, officer, we don't have anything illegal. He's like, because I'm going to be honest with you. You two are acting suspicious. And
what's so suspicious about getting gas?
I have no idea. Again, this is basically discrimination. So I was like asking him, okay, how are we being suspicious? And he's like, you guys are just acting suspicious. Like you sure you guys don't have any drugs or anything? And
I'm pretty sure suspicion upon itself is not a crime. Like, suspicious of what? Just to being suspicious isn't enough to, like, pull you over. You gotta be, like, suspicious of doing drugs, suspicious of driving fast or driving drunk or something like that.
Exactly.
When a cop is just saying, oh, you're acting suspicious, that means they're just bullshitting.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like...
Because if he had a reason, he would have been like, oh, I think you're, like, selling drugs, or I think you're, like, driving drunk, or something like that.
That's what I'm thinking, too, because I'm thinking, somebody could act suspicious, but it's like, what if that's just who they are? This is like they have like some sort of medical problem that makes them act in a certain way. So, as we were talking, a couple cars drove past us. And out of nowhere, it started to smell like weed in the air. So, again, I'm the one outside. My cousin is still in the car.
Right.
So, as we were talking, we started smelling weed in the air. And he's asking me, is he smoking weed right now? Now, keep in mind, my cousin doesn't smoke at all. He doesn't even smoke cigarettes or anything. So I told him, no, he doesn't even smoke. He's like, you're sure? Because I smell weed in the air. And I told him, like, look, I'm not going to deny it. I smell it too. But he doesn't smoke at all.
Yeah, like, it must have been one of those cars driving by.
And that's the funny thing. I don't know where he starts getting pissed and said, come on, dude, there's only 3 of us out here. And that's when I told him that too. I was like, no, it wasn't. A couple of cars just drove past us. So as far as we all can tell, it was them. And then he goes, I don't know where. He goes like, okay, dude, what kind of drugs are you guys hiding? I'm like, dude, we don't have any drugs. What makes you... And, well, I didn't ask him, but when he said what kind of drugs we have, I asked him, what makes you think we have drugs? And... he didn't want to freaking answer that, or, I'm sorry, again, I didn't ask him that because I'm like thinking, this cop is just trying to make me do something or say something stupid,
right?
And all of a sudden, I'm getting arrested. So, he started to ask me, all right, well, can I search your car? And this wasn't my car, this was his brother's car. So, I was like, hey, you know what? This is more of his car than it is mine, so do you just want to ask him? And he goes, well, since you were the one who was driving, I got to ask you. And I was going to tell him no, but before I could even answer, he goes, okay, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Even if you tell me no right now, I'm just going to detain you two until I get a search warrant. I'm just like, son of a fucking bitch.
Right, and especially when you got shit to do and it's like late at night, that just gets annoying.
Like, we're driving to Oklahoma, so it took us like at least... I think it took us like 15 to 16 hours to get there.
Damn.
So I told him, all right, fine, go ahead. And he ended up calling his supervisor well, I wouldn't really say his supervisor. He called like another cop, I guess, to keep an eye on us while he searches the car. And as he's asking my cousin to come out, all of a sudden he's like, look, I need to pat you down, make sure you don't have any weapons or drugs. He didn't pat me down. He didn't say shit to me. So I'm like, that's fucking weird, alright. So the second cop comes, here's the thing that got me worried. This guy was so determined that we have drugs.
Right.
I was literally the first thing that popped my mind was, this is one of those fucking cops that plants drugs.
Yeah, probably. Because so there's some cops out there that don't like to be wrong, and if they think you have drugs, they will find drugs, even if they have to put them in there. Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
And then here in Arizona, we recently passed a law. I don't know if it took effect yet. I think we still got another while, or it probably already did took effect. But we recently passed a law that you cannot record the cops.
Right, yeah.
And I looked into it. It's bystanders. Bystanders cannot record the cops. But if the cops are talking to you, you can record them just as much. But another fucking suspicious thing, like, okay, you can record the cops, but if they're searching your car, that's when you gotta turn the cameras off.
That's a little bit weird.
That's straight up suspicious. It's like so it's like you're telling me that this cop has drugs and all he can do is plant the drugs. Therefore, he can say like, "Oh yeah, he had drugs."
Right. And the thing is, they can switch off their body cams and shit.
It's so fucking weird they do that shit too. Like, they know they're about to do something illegal when they turn the cameras off.
Yep.
And it's funny that you say that too, because so I saw this video about this cop lady getting yelled at because she was telling the sergeant that he's doing something wrong, and he got hella pissed at that. And she got like up to her face and like basically pushed her to a wall. And then I guess that's when the cameras turned off.
Huh.
And out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, there's like an investigation. It's like, what is there to fucking investigate? There's footage of him yelling at the girl, pushing her against the wall. What is there to investigate?
I think I saw a video like that. Was it the one where like the lady cop because it was like a sergeant guy or whatever that was beating up a prisoner who was handcuffed, and then like the lady cop was like, "No, don't do that," and then he got mad and like choked her, or was that like a different video?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
I saw a video like that where like the guy got up right in her face and actually grabbed her by the throat and started yelling in her face.
I don't know. These fucking, it's like nowadays these cops are more considered as a gang than law enforcement.
Yeah, and then they they put like the token like black cop or like the LGBT cop on the posters or whatever to say, oh yeah, we're different, but it's like that's the same beatdowns and shit as before.
So, rewinding a few steps back to the story. So again, like he asked us like one more time, like, okay, you guys sure you don't have any drugs or weapons? Keep in mind, so the reason why we're also delivering the car is because his brother moved to Oklahoma. So, we were like helping. So we did gather some of his shit to transfer there. So keep in mind that I have no idea what was in that car.
Right. Oh shit, I was gonna find a whole bag of weed or some shit.
Oh, you'll see.
All right.
So he asked me, like, you guys don't have any weapons or any drugs, right? And I told him, look, as far as I know, we don't have any of that.
So I'm guessing he's not the kind of cop that you want to pull we got Coke in the back prank, and then it's just a bunch of like Coca-Cola bottles.
Those fucking cops are insane. So as he's searching the car, it turns out my cousin, I want to say he had over $1,000 worth of bullets in the back seats. Like it was
like a box of 1,000 bullets, because what when what is this? Was this when like a box of bullets cost like $1 each per bullet, or is that like more recent?
No, this is like probably more recent. But I'm talking about like we had shotgun shells, we had bullets for pistols, rifles, snipers. We literally had almost every gun made bullets
in the car. Oh yeah, I guess cops find that suspicious, even though there's a thing called Second Amendment, and there's like a lot of dudes who have way more shit in their closets than that. Like, I mean, I don't want to out myself here, but I may have several ammo cans worth in my closet.
Funny that you mentioned that. So I've seen some videos of cops killing African Americans because they supposedly have a gun.
Right, but
But
it's
it's
like,
like, okay,
aren't we allowed to have guns? I'm pretty sure like there's a little thing called the Constitution, the Second Amendment on there that says that we can. So
exactly.
why do they treat that shit like it's illegal? And then peoples who support the cops go along with it. Oh yeah, he had a gun. I'm like, so what?
It's like,
There's
okay,
literally a law that's a federal law that supersedes every other law because part of the Constitution that says we can.
that's what I'm thinking too. It's like, okay, he has a gun, but did he pull it out? Did
Right.
he point it at you? Was his finger on the trigger?
Well,
What-
you know, like I think I saw like a comedian or something once say that like black people apparently have like dangerous voodoo hands or something, where they point at something like, "Oh, that's dangerous voodoo, so shoot him." But yeah, like yeah, I've seen those videos where people have like phones in their hands and then they get shot. Like, oh, he had a gun. Like, nah, it's a phone.
And I'm like thinking, like these cops are supposed to be trained of like think fast or like see what they have, and that's what I don't know. It's just I'm not 100% sure how the process works when it comes to the police academy, but I thought you're trained to know what to do next within a split second.
I think it's like the differences between like training between academies and then training within the field, because in the academies they probably train you how like the standards, how like for example what police standards are, because like police have procedures that in their handbooks that they gotta follow, but then like out on the street they don't follow that shit. They do whatever their training officers allow them to do, or their like sergeants allow them to do. So if they got like a bad sergeant, then you're gonna have bad cops. If they have like a good sergeant, you're probably gonna have better cops. It all depends on like because they have like their training officers train them to what their like the state or local city says that they got to do. So like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this other stuff, you got to shoot somebody until the threat stops. But then when you're out there and their training officer's like, oh no, you just shoot this motherfucker until he stops moving and is no longer breathing, because otherwise he's gonna kill you. Because they instill fear in them, like everyone's out to kill you, everyone's out to kill you. It's like, but that's not really the case. Like if you treat everyone with like they're out to kill you, then you're just a paranoid and you shouldn't be a cop at all.
Right.
Because there's like cops who will come up to you, be all nice, and then there's other cops who be like, "You're out to kill me. I'm gonna kill you first." It's like, brother, you shouldn't be a cop then. If you're really that scared, go do something else. Go work in I don't know, fucking work somewhere where you don't get killed. I want to select daycare, but apparently you can get killed there too.
It's just a sad world that we come into, that we now consider cops more of a gang than someone that we can rely on.
Oh man,
to
there's
protect
actual
us.
gangs and cops. I was seeing like a documentary about like the LA County sheriffs having like an actual gang as part of their sheriff's department.
Or yeah, I heard, or I seen shows like that too, like a dirty cop, or like it's a crazy world. We'll leave it
Right.
at that. That we.
Yeah, I mean, heck, even our military has gangs. Apparently, there's like Crips and Bloods in the army,
No.
and like KKK members in the 82nd Airborne or whatever.
What a world that we live in.
Right? It's like you would think that kind of shit's is screened in the background, but I guess no one wants to join the army or join the police, so they just get whoever wants to join in, regardless of the criminal background. That's what it seems like these days.
It does actually.
It's-
Or anyone that's just fucking trigger happy, they'll
Right,
just
it's
hire
like-
you right there.
Like, you want to be a cop? Yeah, I want to be a cop. Here you go, have a badge, go do your thing. Because like when you like a lot of people these days, they don't want to be cops. They don't want to go into the army or none of that shit. You ask people like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to go play Call of Duty and be a Twitch streamer. That's what everyone wants to do. Because, that's where the big money is at, where they want to be a TikTok star.
Yeah, but it's like almost nearly impossible because you gotta somehow pop out more than the other. You gotta somehow be bigger than the other person.
Which is why you got people doing all kinds of crazy shit, like, opening milk cartons and drinking them, licking ice cream shit. Filming themselves at work, preparing Subways while putting their feet on the ingredients or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that shit is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, we live in a crazy world where everybody's just crazy.
Or they just want their 5 seconds of fame.
Uh-huh.
Again, what a world.
What a world.
But, yeah, that was my story of how I was discriminated just by driving to Oklahoma.
Oh, I don't think we kind of finished the story. We were just getting to the good part where they were searching the vehicle. I think he said they eventually did find like. So
Okay,
what?
yeah,
The
so,
bullets. We were kind of getting to that, but we didn't finish
so
it.
going back to the story, yeah. So he found the bullets. My cousin was explaining to him like, oh yeah, he's a gun collector, but we don't have any of the guns. And the rest of it was just like junk, like
Right.
like pictures or whatever you would normally see in a normal home. And then finally, he just let us go. He was like, all right, well, again, this is just a warning, so you're free to go. And I'm just thinking, like, because I'm not gonna lie, as I was talking to him, I have seen some like lawyer stuff. There was
Right.
like, hey, when a cop pulls you over and he says this is what you say, or if he try to do this is what you do. Here is the legal term of what a dirty cop is gonna try to do to you, and you can get away scot free. But I'm like thinking, okay, but due to the color of my skin, it's not gonna fly by. He's gonna plant fucking drugs. I had a feeling he had drugs, and he was about to plant them. I don't know what changed his mind, but I just don't know.
I don't know. I can't say that I have my own stories with the police. Thankfully, I've yet to have a bad encounter with the police.
That was my first time ever a
Right.
bad encounter.
All it takes is just that one bad encounter, and all of a sudden, apparently, people hate the cops for the rest of their lives.
I'm not saying all cops are bad people.
Some of them are, but
Some of them, yeah, they just give them a bad name. That's how I look at it. It's like, don't really give certain people or certain whatever, like, think like, okay, this person just happens to fall into the category of whatever, therefore they're all bad. It's like, no, it's just that one person. Sure, there might be a couple more, but that doesn't mean they're all bad. There are some good ones.
right. The thing is, we only tend to remember the bad encounters with people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a thing, like, people have bad encounters with the police, so then they're like, oh yeah, all cops are bad. And same thing, vice versa. The cops will have one bad encounter with, like, a black person, and they're like, all black people are bad. It's like, no, fuck you, not everybody is bad.
Exactly.
And when you treat that, and that's kind of like a thing, because a lot of cops be like, oh, the people treat us bad. Like, yeah, well, you treat the people bad. If you encounter, from what I said before, if you're out there thinking everyone's out to kill you, everyone's out to get you, and you're doing bad shit, maybe don't be a cop anymore.
And I'm just thinking too, like, I don't know if you noticed this, or I don't know if you've seen this, but I've been lately seeing like videos. Basically, they're trying to provoke the cop.
Oh yeah, a lot of people do that too. They I think they call themselves like First Amendment auditors or whatever the fuck. It's like, just because you have a First Amendment right to like record and do shit, doesn't mean don't be an asshole. I've seen people go up with like a video and go up to the cops like telling, hey, fuck you, pig, and then the cops obviously get mad and have a reaction like, oh, I got you on camera, I'm gonna sue you, you pig, fuck you, all cops are bastards or some shit like that. Like, dude, that's just weird. Don't do that shit.
Or like, they will look like they're doing something illegal, but at the same time they're not doing something illegal.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
the thing that
try to,
pisses me off the most of those videos, you got like, because people will go up to like people's houses, start filming them or shit, and then the homeowners obviously get mad, so they call the cops, and then the cops come, and then they're like, oh, I'm not doing anything illegal, you can't hold me, fuck you, fuck the homeowner or whatever. This is going on YouTube. Like, that's just an asshole. And you can't do anything about it. And then if you go up to them, like, because I've seen people that try and confront them, they're like, I'm going to beat you up. And then the people's like, how would I beat you up? And they're like, oh, you threatened me. He's like, you threatened the dude first. Dude, you're at that point breaking the law. But, they edit that shit out and stuff.
Exactly. And it's so fucking funny, like, the same people that, they're trying to say, like, oh, cops are bad, cops are evil. But yet, when something fucking really bad's about to happen to them, who's the first people they're going to call?
The cops.
Exactly. They want to say, like, well, we don't need cops, we need to get rid of the cop. But as soon as their
we
life
need the
is being
cops,
threatened,
yeah.
They need the cops.
Oh yeah, we say some stuff, but we know that the police is a necessary, you know,
It's-
and stuff. That's why I don't agree with the whole like defund the police and all that shit. Like, what they need to do is get better training and like better screening of applicants, because there's like a lot of dudes who don't need to be cops,
Exactly.
who are cops.
I think what it is that back then there was like I want to say like a strict rule, or I forgot what it was called, but basically it was like really hard to get into the academy because they
Oh,
were
yeah.
like super strict. They're like, no, we need sharp minds. We need like, we need people who are proactive.
You know what changed it all? The war on terror. It changed everything.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, I don't know about you, but like growing up there, we used to have community policing where cops would just like patrol neighborhoods, walk around, get to know the kids and do that. You don't got cops doing that nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is sit around in their cop cars. They only come around when bad shit happens.
Yeah, but people don't like that anymore. They're like, oh, we don't need that. We don't need this. But it's like, well, once you get rid of them, that's when shit goes down.
And then like after 9/11 and all that shit, like cops changed from like your friendly neighborhood patrolman to your local anti-terror dude who's looking out for dudes committing terrorism.
I want to say too is that people who say defund the police or we don't need the police, they live in a fantasy world that the world's not that bad. Meanwhile, you got people who live in ghetto areas where their houses are almost constantly getting robbed, like at least once a week, or they feel like their life is threatened just by stepping out of their own homes. So when you get rid of the cops, how do you think they're going to feel, or how do you think that area is going to be once the cops are completely gone?
No, it's probably going to get worse, and it's going to spill over to the good areas. Because if you notice, like the people who like defund the police, they live in pretty nice neighborhoods.
Exactly. That's what I say. Like they live in a fantasy that the world's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So Thursday, again by Dubby, the energy drink.
Yep, we're totally drinking Dubby.
But before we close this out, my conclusion is like just because I had a bad experience with that cop, I still say don't defund the police. Don't get rid of the police. We still need them.
We still like kind of semi-support them. We're not like one of those bootlickers who like they can't do anything wrong, but we're not those people who, like defund them and shit.
Exactly. I say just get rid of the bad, keep the goods. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it.
This isn't like a bash to all police out there. This is just like a story that was being told about one bad encounter.
So before we close this out, any last words?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Again, this was A Lying Mask.
And the cat.
And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.